In some ancient cultures, they treated cats as gods. But in the Pokemon trading card game, the best way to play with the cat is with God. Anyway, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Steuben here, and today we're going to take a look at a Meowscarada Arceus list inspired by some City League results from Japan. Kind of excited to get this going. This is my fiance's deck, so she built it. I changed a couple cards just now to fill it out for her. She was missing a few things that I had stashed away. So it's not perfect. We're missing a fourth cat, but we're improvising for it for now. A lot of the new stuff is still either en route or we haven't pulled it, or I'm waiting for like the pre-sales to stop, like the market price to actually stabilize. So expect the next thing probably to be Chi and Pao as requested, and then we'll see what else happens with whatever else. But yeah, let's just get into it. But before we do, don't forget to smash the like button, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel to support the content. Consider becoming a member for as low as 99 cents a month. I have officially cut ties with my own personal Twitch streaming recently, so hopefully some of the folks over there that subscribe over on Twitch, which is a paid service like memberships here, move over here and become a member instead to continue to give their support, which even if they don't want to, I still appreciate everything you've ever done. So, all right, Meowscarada EX, sorry for rambling. We have 310 HP grass type on this thing with the ability Bouquet Magic. You must discard a grass energy from your hand to use this ability. Once during your turn, you may put 3 damage counters on one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Kind of cool. Reminiscent of TCGY, except you just don't put 2 anywhere. You could put 3 on the bench for a discard. Easy enough. Also kind of feels like double gunner almost, without hitting 2 Pokemon on Teleon VMAX, which I absolutely loved the last format. So we have the attack of Scratch Nails for 2 colorless, 100 plus. If it has damage counters on it already, it does 120 more. So you hit for 220, plus the 30 you've put there makes it 250, so on and so forth. So we have 3 copies of the Meowscarada, and this is where it's a little bit questionable right now. We are playing a 4-1-3 split. We should be playing a 4-1-4 split or a 4-0-4 split. Haven't quite figured that out yet with enough testing, but we'll get there. When it comes to the Sprigatitos, ultimately, you really have a lot of choices, but I think the optimal one, and I only have one, is this promo number 001 Sprigatito from the Paldea collection box that they did before Scarlet and Violet came out. We opened those up on the channel, if you remember. If you want to go see that, I'll attempt to put the link in the iCard. But yeah, the Sprigatito, 70 HP for 1 grass, hits 10 damage and heals itself for 10. I think that's the optimal one. Then you have the Scarlet and Violet base one with 70 HP with Scratch and Leafage. Whatever, nothing too crazy. Almost pretty much the same thing. And then the new one here has 60 HP, so 10 less. Still 1 retreat, which is the most important thing, honestly. But you have the attack, Gather, Sunlight. Search your deck for the 2 basic energy cards, reveal them and put them in your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So this isn't not the worst thing ever to have, but I ultimately think in an ideal world, you're going to want to play 4 of this kitty here. And then we have, 1 Florgata. One of the new one for Magic Whip is actually kind of cool because we do play double turbo here. 50 damage. Switch out one of your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench. They choose, but if they only have like 1 in weird situations, it's actually kind of cool. So yeah, we're going to attempt to maybe cut the Florgata when we get a 4th Meowscarada EX so we can go 4-0-4. Alright, continuing on, yes, I did reveal Arceus. We're using the Arceus playmat from Regionals from last year. We are playing a 2-2 line of Arceus V and Vstar. Of course, you have Trinity Charge to load up Pokemon V. However, the only Pokemon V we really have are these, Drapion, and a Medicham, which we'll get to. The real reason we're playing this is for the fact that you could potentially turn 2 Trinity Nova, hit into your opponent a little bit, soften them up for 180, and then the cat can finish it off the next turn. But Starbirth is the most important thing. Instead of just playing a Forest Sealstone and being able to grab 1 single card, Starbirth will let us grab any 2 cards, and that's what really sets up the pop-off turn. So like your turn 2, if your turn 1 has at least 1 or 2 cats down, and an Arceus and maybe some energy placed somewhere, the next turn if you can get access to the Vstar and then Starbirth, I think you're just cooking at that point in time. More Pokemon. We do have Medicham, as mentioned, for Yoga Loop. Put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. If it's knocked out by the placement of the damage from this attack, then you can take an additional turn. And what's insane, of course, you are playing things like Meowscarada with the Bouquet Magic to place counters down, and you're attacking and whatnot. And sometimes your damage is a little bit short, but the Medicham can just clean up and give you an extra turn, and then you can rinse and repeat and do it all over again. And to support the spreading and the Yoga Looping, the Radiant in the deck will be the Radiant Alakazam with Painful Spoons. Once during your turn, you can move up the 2 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another one of their Pokemon. So this just really helps move things around. And especially, too, with Meowscarada, it can only ping the bench with Bouquet Magic. You can't hit the active. So if you have to, for whatever reason, discard a energy, hit their bench, and move it up with the active to the Alakazam, from the Alakazam, so that way Scratching Nails does the most maximum damage possible. And then, yeah, like I mentioned, we do have a Drapion Bean here. Mew kind of gives this a hard time, so we definitely want to be able to give Mew a hard time in retaliation. We are also playing a Manaphy to protect our bench. We have these little small fry, Sprigatitos, and Florgatos. I think ultimately, though, if we do go 4-0-4, Manaphy might get caught at the same time, though. Chi and Pal, Baxcalibur, Palkia, Greninja Loops, kind of problematic. Lost Zone with Greninja, kind of problematic. So I think Manaphy, unfortunately, is just stuck here in the list. And the last little bit of Pokemon we've got is a 2-1 Bibarel line for Industrious Incisors, just to be able to protect ourselves from Iono and things like Judge and other hand disruption as well. And you can play your hand down, discard extra cards with Meowscarada in terms of your energy, and then, of course, draw back up to 5 with Bibarel. But that's the Pokemon line. Pretty straightforward. Nothing too crazy going on here. But then, yeah, let's move into the supporters. We are rocking 4 copies of Colress's Experiment. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Put 3 into your hand and 2 in the Lost Zone. The Lost Zone doesn't really matter here too much. This is just so we don't have to play Research. Research is strong, but you really don't want to discard your hand when you're trying to build up with things like Bouquet Magic and the evolution pieces. Just Research doesn't feel as good here in this list specifically. So just being able to draw a couple cards per turn is where it's at. In terms of draw disruption, we have 2 copies of Iono, the new card, as well, from Paldea Evolved. Each player shuffles their hand into the bottom of the deck. Then you put however many cards there, depending on what you have, and then you draw equal to how many prize cards you and your opponent have left. So, you know, you've taken 2 prizes, they've taken 2 prizes, you're both going to shuffle, put your hand on the bottom, and draw 4. If they've taken 5 prizes, you're going to put their hand down to a size of 1. So this is the fusion of N and Marnie. So Iono is definitely a staple in most decks. Probably a minimum of 2, I think, going forward. We've got 2 copies of Boss for your general gusting up. We've got 1 copy of Clara for some recovery. You can either grab, or both, 2 Pokemon or basic energy from your discard pile to your hand, so it feels pretty good. So if you do have to discard cards with like Ultra Ball or whatever, then you can recur them with Clara. If they get knocked out, you can grab them with Clara, so on and so forth. Also, grabbing energy back from the bin feels pretty good. Last 2 supporters, we have a Raihan. If they take a KO on their turn, you can attach energy to one of your Pokemon and then search deck for any card. So this will help you grab Candy or Vstar or whatever you need, your EX, anything to establish what you got to do. And also in the term of Scratching Nails, since it's 2 colorless, you can attach an energy and then search your deck for whatever else. And that way you can just turn attach and then hit the full damage and not have to worry about like double turbo taking away damage that you're doing. And finally, we have 1 copy of Roxanne for more shuffle disruption. If they've taken 3 prize cards, shuffle will draw 6 for you, 2 for them. Feels pretty good. Item cards. We've got 3 copies of Nest Ball. Grab a basic from the deck. Pretty straightforward. We've got 4 copies of Ultra Ball as well. Pretty straightforward there. Discard 2, search deck for a Pokemon. We've got 1 copy of Suing Heavy Ball. Search deck, search your prizes for a basic, reveal it, and put this back in its place. Pretty straightforward. And then we have 4 rare candy. Mixed arts, I know. Running out of cards sometimes. But yeah, 4 rare candy to get into the Meowscarada EX. Again, I want to be playing a 4-0-4, but we just don't have that 4th one yet, and I want to get this profile out when I had time for everybody, so I hope you understand that most likely this will be a 404 line with the 4 candy. That's probably the only change once I get the last copy of this in hand. And we have 2 copies of Escape Rope for pivots and switch. We have some tanky retreats on a couple of these things, but again, you know, we'll manage. And then last but not least, we have 2 copies of the new reprinted after years Superior Energy Retrieval. Discard 2 cards from your hand, then put up the 4 basic energy from your discard pile into your hand. So again, if you have 4 Meowscarada in a perfect deck list, if we had 4, you'd be able to Bouquet Magic 4 times after just playing one of these. And of course, discarding cards and pulling the energies down and putting them back in the bin lets Industrious Incisors pop off, so it feels pretty good. And then finally, Stadium, we're playing 2 copies of Artisan, also from Paldea Evolved. You can grab a non-Rulebox basic from the deck and put it onto the bench. In this case, your Sprigatitos, your Manaphy, or Bidoof. Pretty limited here, so we're just playing 2 of these. This is also to bump Path, so Arceus can do Starbirth. And you can use Alakazam as needed, and of course Path also hurts Bouquet Magic, so we definitely needed a Stadium in play, and it also just helps us set up as well. And finally, for the energy cards, we have 4 copies of Double Turbo and 8 basic Grass Energy. So we're rocking 8 there and 4. Double Turbo, of course, you know, fuels Arceus Vstar, Metacham, Meowscarada. It helps your retreats on a couple of things here. And then, of course, the Grass Energy is for discarding and or potentially attacking with. But this is the list early on. So far, it feels pretty good. Again, like I said, I just want to change this to a 404. So if you look at it this way, just pretend this backwards sleeve is another Meowscarada EX. But yeah, this is the list early on, based off of a handful of different lists I've seen from Japan, from their city leagues, and I like it. It seems pretty cool. Being able to spread damage and do things with Yoga Loop are always some of my favorite things. I really did love Inteleon Urshifu last format. It could still potentially be played this coming one, so we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, of course, if you made it this far, let me know down below what you think of this list, what you would change, what you would want to play instead. Would you rather just play Meowscarada without Arceus, without the Starbirth? Let me know what you think. I always appreciate your support and feedback. And of course, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe. And if you want to consider becoming a member to support the content, it would really mean a lot to me if you did so. But yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in a couple of days or maybe next week with maybe some Chi and Pao. See you later. Peace out. Much love.